We've got some breaking news. Hunter Biden's plea deal has apparently just fallen apart minutes before he was set to plead guilty before a federal judge in Delaware. Now, according to reporting in News Nation, during the hearing this morning, Judge Mary Ellen Norica questioned whether the deal would shield Hunter Biden from all further prosecution. When prosecutors said no and confirmed that Hunter Biden is still under investigation for potential Foreign Agents Registration Act violations, Hunter Biden's legal team then backed out of the agreement, saying it must include immunity from future prosecution or no deal. So this is huge. So it's falling apart on the Hunter Biden side. Right. They don't want to go forward with the deal. Maybe there was a misunderstanding and they thought that by pleading guilty to these charges, he's not going to face any more prosecution at all. But the judge was clarifying there that he could still face future charges, and thus then Hunter Biden doesn't really want to take this deal. So that's very interesting.
It sounds like it was the lawyer's understanding, and my understanding from reporting on the matter, that Hunter Biden would not face prosecution for the gun-related charge. That was in a separate case, and that was a part of this deal. And when the judge asked about it, the prosecution and Hunter Biden's legal team, the court went into recess. They discussed with the judge. Turns out they were not in agreement about what their plea deal was. So very interesting turn of events. This could have been, the type of situation where, we worked this out. We're pleading guilty. This is our agreement, and we move on. We know that Republicans are trying to block this because of government interference, and perhaps, the briefs that they'd written would get in the way of this plea deal. Sounds like it's falling apart on its own.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, I think Republicans are getting what they want. So Republicans didn't want this plea deal to go forward because they want future investigations. And if there's wrongdoing found, they want future prosecutions. This was confirming that was still going to take place. So, I guess that sort of, gets around their objection to the plea deal. If he can plead, to guilty to these charges, not spend any jail time, but then still face future charges. That's exactly what Republicans want, because what Republicans really want is an understanding, is knowledge of if there's evidence of the broader collusion with foreign business interests or foreign governments involving Joe Biden as well, as is potentially the case given recent reporting that there are claims that Joe Biden was on phone calls with Hunter Biden and foreign business interests, that he was put on speakerphone calls, that Hunter Biden said, "Hey, my dad's right here, don't make me put him on the line with you." Again, we don't know. We're not hearing the Joe Biden side of this. We don't know. This was all Hunter, kind of smoke and mirrors on Hunter's part to manufacture to foreign interests that his dad was involved in this. You've mentioned that Burisma actually cut Hunter Biden's salary when
the VP was out of office.
When his dad was no longer VP. So there was definitely, it's pretty clear to me that Burisma and the influence seekers were counting on his connections to the big guy, to Dad. But it's not clear to what extent Joe Biden went along with that. But it's still something we need to investigate. And if it reflects additional criminal wrongdoing on Hunter Biden's part, then there should be charges. There would be charges according to the terms of this deal. So it's not a good enough deal for Hunter Biden.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting that they would pull out of this deal. It seems pretty clear that, maybe the prosecution was lying in advance of this deal and saying we won't prosecute you on this other thing. How rare is it?
Does Hunter Biden not have good lawyers? Aren't these things? This is what you worry about, right? I thought I agreed in taking this deal that you can't do X. You can still do Y. We didn't look closely enough at the fine print.
There was a viral tweet of one of Hunter Biden's lawyers in LA smoking a bong on a balcony, which is legal in California. But people were like, how good is your lawyer if this is how he's spending his day right before you're meeting with him?
All right.
But nevertheless, I think what's interesting about what the lawyers are doing is if the prosecutors were in agreement here, how strange is it? I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. How unique is it for someone to enter in a plea deal where they say, no more prosecution, even though there's all of these other possible illegal things you could have done?
Well, that's part. That's your reason to plead guilty and to take whatever licks come with that. Obviously, he was not getting any jail time. It was the sentence here was extraordinarily light. You might also plead guilty and then offer information on someone else, like associates of Hunter Biden, assuming that the Justice Department was actually trying to go after the biggest fish here, Hunter Biden. They might offer plea deals to people who could offer testimony, and then even if there's other crimes, you could have those you could have those wrapped in. You're right that I guess I don't know exactly how common it is to also prescribe that you'll be safe from prosecution. I mean, obviously, it's not like a blank check to then go out and commit more crimes, and not have, like, this isn't like the Double Jeopardy movie or something.
Sure.
But all crimes you may have committed up until that point can be grandfathered into a deal, I think. But weren't in this case.
The most interesting part of this is it sounds like there's an active investigation, right?
Yeah, that's what they've
According to
confirmed.
Fox News, right, the judge asked prosecutors, is Hunter Biden currently under active investigation? And the prosecutors said he was, but wouldn't specifically answer what Hunter Biden was under investigation for. That's very interesting. But 2 misdemeanor tax offenses, making him immune from being charged for, this felony case with the gun where he had illegal possession of, drugs or was under the influence of drugs. Now it makes the possession of the firearm illegal. Right. I think there's the matter of the law and how the law handles it, the judicial branch. But then also we have the legislator who, is clearly having a hearing, trying to look into what's going on with the Biden family, trying to find some evidence of these financial transactions between Burisma and the Biden family, the $5 million to Hunter Biden, and additional $5 million to Joe Biden, seemingly a payment for them conveniently having, Joe Biden use his power as vice president to oust Victor Shokin, who had Burisma, under prosecution. They said he was corrupt. Biden said he was corrupt and said, unless you oust him, we're not giving Ukraine $1 billion. Right. Sounds a little bit like corruption, but is the law in Delaware going to prosecute Hunter Biden for a matter as big as this? I think that is why it's in the hands of Congress, but it seems to me that they don't have the investigatory power to really determine how this money went from Burisma to the Biden family, if it did. And so it sounds to me like if you're quite upset about Hunter Biden's dealings, we're going to need some more laws passed to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. We're going to need a larger vetting process for someone to become, the president or vice president if they have a son who's on the board of this very influential company of a foreign country.
Can you imagine Hunter just like talking to his lawyers and being like, okay, I plead guilty to this, I don't serve any jail time, and this protects me from future prosecution. And I guess the lawyers were like, yeah, it does. And then the judge is clarifying, no, it doesn't. And they're like, oh. It's like the quote from Arrested Development, I have the worst effing attorneys, right? That's what the dad says. That's what it sounds like. So very, very interesting breaking news. We will certainly continue to follow it. I'm sure we'll have more updates on the situation for you all tomorrow. Might try to get a reporter who's been covering this more closely. We will have more Rising in just a minute, though. Lots more exciting stuff to get to in the show today.